Rarely have I felt so conflicted about a game. When talking about The Outer Worlds, you can look back through my previous video history from last year and see that I was incredibly excited to play it right after its initial reveal. Shortly before it released, however, an announcement was made that the game would be ported to the Switch. At that point, I had a decision to make. Do I play the game when it released on another console, or PC, or do I wait to play it on my console of choice, the Switch? In the end, I decided to wait. A confluence of factors helped me come to this decision, but mainly because I was incredibly busy with work and travel at the time, so it became an easy solution. When the reviews came out for The Outer Worlds, they were decidedly positive, and the game even won some Game of the Year and RPG of the Year honors. I was past initial release, and the Switch port was supposedly not that far off. Further, while The Outer Worlds looked good, it certainly wasn't an astoundingly beautiful or even visually complex game. I mean, The Witcher 3, though it released several years before The Outer Worlds, comes across as a much more demanding title, and the Switch port of that game turned out well. In my mind, I thought that The Outer Worlds was a game that should be able to be faithfully recreated on the Switch, given enough time and resources, that is. Well, boy was I wrong there. Simply put, The Outer Worlds looks awful on the Switch. Keep in mind that this is also my first time playing this game, so I am doing everything for the first time, and I've put in a good dozen hours so far. I am off the first planet and completed all the quests I could find and did some pretty thorough exploration. I played the game roughly half of the time docked, with the other half portable. Here's the thing though, I am having a great time. Despite the game looking among the worst I have ever played on the Switch, the dialogue and quests are shining through. It's hard to see enemies in the distance sometimes, and the performance feels like the game is about to crash at any moment. Each outfit is rendered on the character, but it is such a blurry mess that I imagine I must be missing out on some stylish part of the game because I can't make out the details. Weapon models are the same way. There's obviously a lot of good work that went into creating unique weapons and weapon enhancements, but unfortunately I can't really see it. Worse yet, I am compelled to finish the game on the Switch. True, I did purchase the game, so I should do this anyway, but it is significantly cheaper on PC and I could play it at maximum settings, especially since I already know that I'm really going to enjoy it. But I've already invested so many hours that starting over simply isn't an option. I'll definitely pick it up on an Epic Store sale or maybe when it comes to Steam, but for now I want to keep on playing and I don't want to have to start over from scratch. I quite like the character I've created and the game is just a lot of fun. So that brings me to a sticky subject. How bad do graphics have to be to detract from a good game? Despite the game looking awful, I am having a great time. I shake my head when things pop up right in front of me and textures fail to load, but that is mostly just cosmetic. Much of the game takes place during dialogue, and in those instances, the game actually looks pretty decent. Indoor environments also look much, much clearer. I have spent significant time inside some of these buildings, and it looks good enough that I'd stop thinking about it. Performance inside is also much better. Unfortunately, whenever you spend a lot of time in an inside environment, and the game looks and runs satisfactorily, that makes the inevitable journey back outside all the more jarring, and in some cases, downright shockingly bad. All this being said, I can see glimpses of what could be. I am assuming that with the virus situation having happened during development of this port, that it made finishing it much more difficult. If Virtuous could get the resolution and performance up in the outside areas, this could be a far improved experience. Some people have looked a bit under the hood and have determined that Virtuous went a little conservative with some of their settings. Perhaps, if the game sells well enough, which is a big if, Virtuous can continue to tweak and optimize the game. I could go on and on about the technical limitations and downfalls of this port, but in the end it simply isn't good. At $60 it is basically impossible to recommend, even though I am enjoying it so much. Right now you can buy it on the Epic Store for $38 or for PS4 or Xbox One for about $35. Not only do you get the same game, but it looks and runs infinitely better. Now, one caveat here is that if you don't have access to other platforms, or like me, the Switch is far and away your main console gaming device, I would tell you that you'll still enjoy the game. Technical limitations and all, it is still a very good Fallout-like experience, filled with interesting characters, charm, and a compelling new universe to explore. It doesn't seem to be as ambitious as Fallout 3, 4, or New Vegas in overall scope, but it is definitely scratching that itch for me. Overall, if you have to have the Switch version, I would suggest waiting on a sale. I expect that this will be cheaper relatively soon, so if you waited this long to play it, well, just wait a little bit longer. Otherwise, I heartily recommend the game and I think you should purchase it elsewhere. Perhaps when the GPD Win Max releases and I have that in hand, I'll have the option to properly play it portably while also being able to boot it up on my main PC for the best visuals possible. Still, you have to like the ambition to bring this game to the Switch, and I'll continue to say it is better to have this heavily compromised version of The Outer Worlds on Switch than it is not to have it at all. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe, maybe click that bell icon, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
Talk to Vera. She'll set you right. You need anything else? You let me know. Don't want anyone saying Groundbreaker's not the most hospitable port in the colony. Maybe. Most of the shipping traffic in the system passes through Groundbreaker. Every couple of months, we even get a big interstellar freighter.